Greetings everyone, welcome to Chess Advance. This game was played in the 1966 and this game was played in Kislovodsk, Russia. And yeah, this is fun, amazing game with the white pieces. Here we have the magician of Riga, the one who introduced us to romantic chess, a brilliant attacker. We have Mikhail Tal, and with the black pieces we have Mark Taimanov. He's an amazing positional player, also created the Taimanov variation of Sicilian. And yeah, I mean, one of the strongest players to be in his time, and definitely two of the strongest players on this board. So let's not keep them waiting. Without further ado, let's start with this game. Here Tal starts with e4. We have c5. Taimanov goes for the Sicilian variation. We have knight to f3, d6. We are ready for a fight. d4, c captures, knight captures, and just knight to f6. This is the open variation. Knight to c3, knight bd7, and just bishop to c4. This is the main line. We have queen to c7, just very nicely hitting the bishop. But now a queen to e2. Now you can castle either queen side, you can castle either king side. So here Tal is keeping his options open. Here just a6, but now just going for this bishop to g5. And you can see that the position is very nice. Both of the bishops are eyeing very nicely. Knights can jump into the game. You can castle queenside. You can get the rook very nicely aligned. So Tal's position all in all is very good by the opening. He achieved almost all the things that he wanted. He immediate b5, but bishop to d5 now, and attacking the rook. So the move that you would want to play in this position is maybe a move like bishop to b7, now asking what are you doing with this bishop, and most likely Tal would have to retreat because you cannot capture it. If you capture, queen captures, then you have lost your one of the really great attackers, and definitely not something you want to do. So bishop to b3 would be nice, but in this position for some reason Taimanov went for knight captures on d5, and it is not a good move because it just gives me an option to go for knight captures on d5, and now this one is protected, so you cannot really capture it. And on the other hand, I'm just bringing the knight in with a tempo, and my both of the knights are centralized. Bishop is centralized, queen is centralized. I can just castle and get the rook into the game. So I'm very happy. And when you give Tal all of these little inaccuracies, he's going to capitalize on that and make your life a living hell. Because here queen to b7, and Tal goes for a queen side castle here. And even with b4 now doesn't come with a tempo towards the knight, so you can have another move and try and start an attack, and your king is still in the center. And when your king is still in the center, you know what Tal does. Tal sacrifices the pieces. Here e6 was played, and Tal does what he says. He goes for f4. You cannot capture. If you go for e captures, then comes e capture, position opens up. You cannot block because that would be checkmate, so you have to sacrifice material. And after f captures, you play this captures, and now you have to start running away with the king. And there are so many ideas in the position. You can get the rook into the game. You can play this knight to c6, and if you move the bishop, this is even an idea. The position is almost lost right from the opening. But here knight to c5, Taimanov refuses to believe that he has lost in 12 moves against Tal. He goes for rook h2. After rook h2 e1, I mean, he goes for knight to c5. Taimanov refuses to believe that he has lost this game in just 12 moves against Tal, and he goes for knight to c5, not taking the piece, not being greedy. But here Tal goes for rook h2 e1, and now the bishop is a problem. Two knights in the center are a problem. Queen is already eyeing, and amongst all of this, here rook to a7 was played to try and guard everything towards the 7th rank. But Tal, being Tal, here in this position goes for a beautiful move. He says you might not be able to incline towards capturing one knight, but I'm offering you two. He goes for knight to f5, saying you want to capture, you capture both of them, you capture one of them, I don't care. I just want to open up that file and I want to checkmate you. And he's right. If you go for e captures on f5, after e captures, bishop to e6 is the only move, otherwise you're just getting checkmated. So after f captures, we have f5, and if you cannot even trade because of the spin, so now just going for e5, but after f6 your position just completely crumbles. Queen get into the game. Even if you block, there is rook captures after the knight moves. So it's just very pathetic position to have just in like move 20. So here in this position, after knight to f5, f6 was played. Now there is one piece, two piece, three pieces that are hanging in the position, and Tal goes for sacrificing one more. He goes for bishop captures on f6, and he say you want to capture it. Well, go ahead, Taimanov. You're really going to enjoy what's coming, because he's absolutely right. If you capture this, you're just completely lost. What you want to do is you want to play e captures on d5. This is the only way a draw or something like that can be ensured, because here after e captures you play king to f7, but after queen to e8 check, yes, you allow this. There is king captures on f6, and there is no checks in this position, and yes, the black king survives here. as crazy as it is, being on f6 is much more safe in this position. That's really crazy. But Taimanov, he could not hold out his anger in this position. He could not be as calm as it was intended, as the position wanted him to be, because you cannot take that bishop. But he took the bishop, and after knight caps on f6, here just king to d8 was tried, but after knight caps on d6, there is nothing in this position. Two rooks are eyeing the king like wolves eye their prey. And here after bishop caps on d6, rook captures was not even played. Here just e5 was played, and now not even capturing that, knight to d7 was tried, but rook captures. Now that knight is even pinned, and there's so much pressure towards that knight. But now just comes king to c7, you have to run away, but rook e to d1, knight caps on f6, pawn captures, and just going back with the king. We have queen to e5. Now there are so many threats. 1b, rook to c6 after you block, just capturing that, and it would be really a bad thing for that to occur, or even just going here. I mean, it's just really bad position to have, because after that I think there is just a pin and you cannot do anything. Once you move, just capture, and that's just completely over. King to e8, but now after g4 the position is just really bad. Yes, you're up a piece, but look at that bishop, it's still on the starting square. You didn't even get a chance to move that bishop, and that's what happens when you don't develop it early on. Rook to f8 was played, but now comes g5. We have rook to f7, but here just going for this h4, rook to c7, rook to d8, just pinning that bishop, and now those pawns are marching forward. There is nothing you could do here. Queen to c6 was tried, but now after queen to e2, there is nothing you could do in this position, and it's just move 27. Can you believe that? And maybe what you want to do in this position is just push those pawns like we do in Sicilian to try and go for an attack. So let's say if you go a5, I'm going to go h5, b4, g6, h captures, a4, and those pawns are marching forward. Here g7, but now you go even have the option of going b3 without ruining your position that very much. And after g8 queen, yes, you get another queen into the game, but after b caps on a2, it seems like, you know, black is also getting a queen into the game. But you have a beautiful move in this position, which is king to d2. And yes, that's right, you can even allow this and you are still absolutely fine, and you cannot get the queen into the game. Let's say you play a move like a3 to try and capture this. I'm letting you know right here and right now that you cannot push. If you push or if you capture, then you're just getting checkmated, because simply because of the fact that you maybe just forgot about one thing, that that pawn can queen. Because let's say you capture, this check comes, king goes back, and this would be a very unfortunate checkmate. So you don't want to do that. You have to be very much careful about these tactics. So here after king to e1, we have just a captures. These are two pawns on the second rank. Either one could promote, but it's still a losing game. You know why? There is only one move in this position that could win you the game. And I'm gonna ask you to pause the video to try and find out this move. It took me so much time to find out this move, but after I found out this move, I was so happy. Just try your luck, try and find out this move. This is the only winning move in this position. Have at it. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move. The move is this beautiful queen to f3, sacrificing an entire queen, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. Here, if you go for queen captures, then you're just getting checkmated. After rook captures on c8, rook captures, and after queen captures would be checkmate. And if you try to do anything other than that, king to b7, then comes rook to b8 check, king moves, queen caps on e6 check, queen blocks, but now comes queen captures on a2, and after the queen blocks, only move queen caps on a4 would be a very nice checkmate here. And if you try to do anything else after queen to f3, let's say you play b1 queen, get another queen into the game, just rook captures on c8, and it does the job. Because after rook captures, queen captures, and you cannot capture here because you're pinned, you cannot capture here because you're in check, and that's the unfortunate thing about this. And whatever you do here, let's you play queen to b7, but after queen caps on c8, because of the queen being pinned, this is actually checkmate. And even after this, if you go for a1 queen, then rook caps on c8, rook captures, just going for this queen caps on c6, and I think it's the same idea. And even if you go for king to b7 here and you think maybe you can survive, but rook to b8 check, king to a6, queen to d3 check, queen blocks, and after this queen caps on e6 with a check, rook to c6, and after queen caps on c4 with a check, we have king to a5 and queen to b5 checkmate. That's absolutely crazy. Anywhere you go after this is checkmate, so you cannot push those pawns. But I wanted to show you this line because this is just so beautiful. So here after queen to e2, queen to c5 was tried, but this just unfortunately doesn't work. Queen to e4 check, king moves, and not just pushing those pawns. e5, g6, h captures, and e4, e captures, and now just going for this g7. And after rook captures, f captures, you sacrifice the rook for those pawns because there is nothing other than that. Queen caps on f4 was played. Now rook to c7, queen to e4, and now just going for b4. Checkmate has been protected. There is no other thing. Now he tries to push those pawns, but it's just a bit too late. rook 8 to d5. We have queen to b6, queen to d4, and queen to b7. Just trying out those moves. There is nothing to do. King to b1 was tried, but after bishop to e6, just rook to d6, rook to c4, and queen to e5 was played. And it was on this move, on just move 30, just move 40, that Mark Taimanov resigned the game. And in just 40 moves, amidst all of this chaos, there was nothing he could think of, and he just simply resigned because there is just too many threats in this position, and you cannot just solve all of them. Even if you try to go for here to try and attack that, I'll just simply pick up the piece, because after rook captures there is no threat in the position, and that's what he realized as well. And he resigned the games in just 40 moves, and Tal got this brilliancy and created this masterpiece and showed why he's the sorcerer, why he's the magician from Riga, because he plays this spectacular chess and he plays it every single time. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, because these games gets lost in the mix. And believe me, you want to analyze old games from the past, because it improves your chess so much. You can analyze it for days and you'll be doing really, really good. So yeah, that's about it. I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon. Thank you all for watching.